I'm here in Australia's remote Northern Territory, on my way to a place of great significance in the struggle against racism in Australia. I'm going to the twin towns of Gurindji and Dagaragu on Gurindji country.
Gather round people, I'll tell you a story, an 8-year-long story.
It was out here that, influenced by Unionist Dexter Daniels, Vincent Lingari led his people off the Wave Hill cattle station, where, as recently as the 60s, they had been working like slaves, receiving nothing for their labour but rations. Lord Vesti, the powerful beef merchant who owned the cattle station, responded with both threats and entreaties, finally offering to pay cash wages, but the Gurindji mob held out, demanding instead that their land be returned to them. 8 years later, they were the first Australian Aborigines to have their land rights recognised. The Wave Hill Walkout, as the struggle became known, was even immortalised in a song by Australian musicians Paul Kelly and Kev Carmody, called From Little Things, Big Things Grow.
From little things, big things grow. From little things, big things grow.
Today the Gurindji are once more at the forefront of Indigenous resistance, organising protests against the now 3-year-old federal intervention into Aboriginal communities. The intervention is a set of policies including compulsory acquisitions of land, quarantining of welfare payments and the banning of alcohol, pornography and X-rated video games. In the early stages, they even sent in the army. The intervention was announced in the final months of the Conservative Howard government, and many saw it as a desperate stunt to stave off defeat. But 2 elections later, it's still being rolled out. The basis for the intervention was the Little Children Are Sacred report, which alleged widespread child abuse resulting from entrenched social dysfunction. Critics, however, have dismissed this as cover for a blatant grab at land and power.
The winds are decided, they must make a stand.
John Lehman, one of the protest organisers, says no one is pretending there weren't serious problems in the communities prior to the intervention.
This alcohol problem starting to arise and rise over the years, and the petrol sniffing, and a lot of other stuff. And that is why we're asking the government now, step in, consolidate with us, step in and let's work together, and we can, we got a problem here in the communities. Let us help us stop this problem. But when they done the intervention, it was, we freaked out. There was a lot of policies that were being implemented in the, made into legislation in the intervention law. That's got nothing to do with helping the children whatsoever.
Can you give us an example?
40-year lease, 99-year leases, taking control of over freehold land, 5-year leases. We got assets, we've got funding cut off, CDP, assets being frozen. Community, there's no more local community government. We don't have any control or say over our community.
And this is meant to be about child abuse?
And this is meant to be about child abuse and petrol sniffing.
One of the most obviously harmful effects of the intervention has been the evisceration of the Community Development and Employment Program. The CDEP took local people on welfare and put them to work on jobs around the towns. Their pay was determined according to the hours they worked and administered by their bosses inside the community. They could earn up to $1,000 a fortnight. Under the intervention, the program was slashed and drastically reordered. Those administered under the new scheme receive only the regular Australian unemployment benefit, which is one of the lowest in the OECD. The only difference between them and other welfare recipients is that they can have their payments cut if they miss work. To make matters worse, under the intervention, half of all welfare payments are quarantined on something called a basics card, which can only be used at certain stores and for certain items. The result is a bureaucratic nightmare that has in many cases brought the amount paid in real money down below half of Australia's minimum wage, as this video report by activist Paddy Gibson first detailed.
How many hours a week are you working, mate?
32 hours, every fortnight.
And how much are you getting paid?
190.
Well, how much did you used to get paid before?
1,000.
Nathan Morris, a CDEP participant from Dagaragu, has also taken a pay cut under the intervention. Though, what with various bureaucratic complexities and the language barrier for him as a native Gurindji speaker, he doesn't know by exactly how much. What concerns him more than his pay are his working conditions.
Now, we see you here working in the hot sun.
Yeah.
And you didn't even have proper safety gear on there, did you?
Yeah, today, yeah.
You didn't even have the eye goggles or anything when you're cutting grass?
Yeah.
Well, you know, is that normal?
Nah.
Well, I mean, but is that how it normally happens for you?
Yeah. Before was really best, but I'm all everything safety and all gear and all that. Yeah.
So the old CDEP, you would have all the proper safety gear and stuff like that?
Yeah.
He also feels that due to mismanagement, his abilities are going underused in his community.
Right now I'm working for Shire, for carpentering, but for carpentering there's not much job right now.
Okay.
So we have to help out with gardening and planting and cutting lawns. Yeah.
But you're a carpenter, you've got a trade and everything?
Yeah, I'm carpenting and even got my own certificate and white card and all that.
Okay, so they could have you working on the houses that need fixing up, couldn't they?
Yeah, everything like windows, louvers.
These windows, these ones here.
One person who could use his skills is Damien Palasco. 6 months ago, he and his family were evicted, supposedly so their house could be renovated.
Don't flush properly.
Don't flush, that's where that's...
Should be fixed by now, but don't look like...
Anything's happened, doesn't look like anything. Has anything happened since March?
No.
For 6 months, Damien and his family have been staying with relatives. It's starting to wear thin.
They told us to move, and we can't wait. We just want things to get fixed.
Because what I'm doing my story on is the intervention. Were things better or worse or the same before regarding housing?
Worse.
They're worse than before now? Or they were worse before?
Worse now, because before it was okay before. They just fixed things straight away.
Who fixed them then?
Probably CDP fixed houses.
The Aboriginal community was really happy with the CDP program because it basically covered a lot of grounds for work-wise. There was, for instance, my community, Dagaragu, Gurindji, we had our own bakery up and running. We had brickworks up and running. We made our own bricks. We had the CDEP office running, and the smoko place where we used to have smoko breaks. There was the clinic. We had people, working in the clinic and the old people homes. We built houses in the rec hall, and it motivated people, and it gave us, confidence in work.
Because that was a locally run project.
Yes.
And then the funding for that got cut during the intervention.
Yes.
And then what happened to the houses?
Everything's demolished, brother. There's, what's happening in all the communities? There's thousands of dollars of steel, copper, materials being trashed, being left on the ground, because who would want to work for no money? Nobody on earth would want to work for free. And that's what I mean by the damage that they've done. They've come in without consultation and took over and stopped everything, and now we are in their mess. There's thousands of dollars of waste stuff. There's vandalism in the buildings. There is rubbish laying around. There's asbestos being spread around by the kids and animals in Dagaragu.
Regarding the issue of child sexual abuse, which was the public justification for the intervention, Mr. Lehman says there is no need for special laws to protect Aboriginal children.
If people are doing the wrong thing, those people are to be investigated, prosecuted, and...
You're talking about child abuse?
I'm talking about child abuse. Whether they're Aboriginal or whether they're white, or doesn't matter what race they are. There's a law there. It's always been there, to carry out. You investigate, and then if someone is found guilty, and then they get prosecuted by the law, and they get sent to jail. That's how it works. That's how it should work, instead of this pointing the finger at everybody.
Interestingly, 3 years into the intervention, no major policy changes or extra funding has been announced for child protection. In fact, tellingly, the word child does not appear once in the intervention laws. Alcohol was meant to be another problem the intervention addressed, with tough new laws brought into force to save Aboriginal people from themselves. But alcohol is still available in Gurindji. For 3 hours a day, 6 days a week, beer is sold at the community club. There are strict penalties for anyone who brings unauthorised alcohol into the community, but these heavy penalties predate the intervention by years. So what is the intervention about?
When you really look at the intervention law and you look at the policies that were being made into legislation, you look at it properly and you can see it. You can't, if somebody don't see what's really happening here, then they've got a problem in their mind or in their brains.
Join us for part 2 of this series, where we discuss the law in detail with David Cooper, the Northern Territory representative for Australians for Native Title and Reconciliation.